And breaking news this hour, an NBC News exclusive, a new report that the federal grand jury in the Donald Trump classified documents case is expected to meet this week. It is part of the Justice Department and Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the former president. The grand jury is meeting after a brief hiatus. A very good day to all of you from MSNBC World Headquarters here in New York. Welcome, everyone, to Alex Witt Report. So this new report could signal a decision soon on whether to indict the former president. For more, I'm joined now by one of the authors of the exclusive report, NBC's Julia Ainsley. Julia, welcome. So tell me what you found out.
Well, what we know is that what we expect is that the grand jury in the Mar-a-Lago case, remember Jack Smith, the special counsel, is looking at both former President Trump's involvement in those Mar-a-Lago documents as well as January 6th. But we understand the grand jury looking at his possible obstruction and keeping classified documents at Mar-a-Lago will be meeting this week. Now, that's after a long hiatus, and we know that they were already calling in some really high-profile witnesses earlier, which may signal that they were at the end. So it could be after a long hiatus. It could be, again, we don't know for sure, and we're not reporting this, that prosecutors are able now to present their case and move forward with a vote for a possible indictment. We should point out an indictment means that they are charging. They would be charging Trump. That doesn't mean that they are finding him guilty. This is the grand jury process. It's a very secretive process. There's a term we hear a lot, our phrase that says it's impossible. A grand jury could indict a ham sandwich, meaning that an indictment is a pretty low bar. So it could be that if they are at the stage where they're going to present this evidence to the grand jury to try to get an indictment, a vote for an indictment, that could happen this week or within the next coming week. So that's something we're watching as we have this news now that they should be meeting in the coming week. But of course, it could be that they want to recall some witnesses. We're not sure about that.
In terms of the details here on the question of whether or not the DOJ may be close to a charging decision in the investigation, I do want to play what Tim Parlatore, one of Donald Trump's former lawyers, said today on Meet the Press. Let's take a watch.
When the grand jury went quiet several weeks back, I kind of looked at it and said, okay, this indicates that either they're coming to a charging decision or maybe they are moving to the stage where investigation is complete and now Jack Smith's going to start writing up the report.
But now that he's convening, that in your mind is more likely to be a potential charging decision?
Not necessarily. I mean, certainly, it could be that they're continuing an investigation into other things. It could be that the reason for the break is that the last grand jury simply expired and they had to convene a new one. I'm not sure specifically. I mean, I certainly haven't heard of anything new that would require new testimony. I can't imagine that there's anybody else in Mar-a-Lago to testify.
So frankly, he is covering all the bases with that answer there. Do all of these possible directions sound plausible to you? Have you, anybody on your reporting team, Julia, have you been able to get any clarification on which way the hearing is likely to go this week? Any indication?
No, in fact, that's why we want to be very clear and careful in this, that we are not saying which way the grand jury will go. I mean, that's part of the reason why the grand jury process is sometimes so hard to report on, because it is deliberately secretive. What we do know is that there are two central questions prosecutors want the grand jury to look at, and it is whether or not the president, former President Trump, should have taken those documents to Mar-a-Lago. Did he break the law in doing that, and by claiming that he had signed over all of the relevant documents to the archives? And then did he further obstruct the investigation when people came, and we know that FBI search about a year ago now, last August, was there obstruction at play there? So it's an underlying crime as well as obstruction. That's what we know that all of this evidence has been building to. Could that end in a report? Is this simply a new grand jury? Are there new witnesses they needed to call and it took them longer to bring those forward? Or could they be moving toward a possible indictment? We don't know, but that's what makes it newsworthy. In fact, that they would have taken this long. Is there now a move? And it's something that, as we learn more, we will certainly report out.
Absolutely, you will. Julia Ainsley, for which we thank you.